Tonight on CTV News, a strong earthquake is felt across the country. We've got the latest details. How important are international flights to Christchurch and its economy? The Mayor weighs in on the debate. And a big weekend is ahead as the country commemorates Anzac Day.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. A strong earthquake that struck near Kaikoura this afternoon is thought to be connected to the fault that damaged Seddon a couple of years ago. The quake measured 6.3 on the Richter scale when it hit 76 kilometres below Kaikoura at around 20 to 4. CTV spoke to the Kaikoura Chief Fire Officer a short time ago.
I own a workshop and everyone got out of the workshop. She was fair going for it. There's a minor shock for a starter, and then there's a real beauty. And a real sharp one. We haven't heard of any problems as yet. We just, because our station's not manned, but I've just been down here now just making sure that we're still 100% operational, which we are.
And GNS says it's likely to be connected to yesterday's 5.1 magnitude shake. Meanwhile, a minor slip between Kaikoura and Cheviot was causing concern on State Highway 1, but traffic is still flowing. To the day's other news now, and how viable are long-haul flights to Christchurch? Well, the Mayor says it's still important for Air New Zealand to meet that need, but talks with other airlines are also in the pipeline. Jared McCulloch reports.
Christchurch is noted as the gateway to the South Island, and the Mayor wants to see more direct flights to the city. This comes as Air New Zealand announced plans last month that they were pulling the plug on flights from Tokyo to Christchurch later this year, with the daily service being redirected to Auckland. But Leanne Dalzell's personal goal as Mayor is to get flights landing on Canterbury soil, with the country in focus, China.
One of the things that I would like to see in my time as Mayor is a direct flight between Christchurch and China.
Mayor Dalzell was away overseas on her trip to China when the news broke that the flights had been axed by the national carrier. But she's been in contact with Air New Zealand's Chief Executive Christopher Luxon to talk about future long-haul trips from Christchurch Airport.
I have expressed to him that we do have a desire for direct flights from our national carrier. We want Air New Zealand flying in long haul from overseas. Overall, the impression I was left with was, you give us the reason and we will consider.
Mayor Dalzell says the council needs to prove that international flights should come here.
They want us to be showing them what the offering is, and part of that offering will be the new Christchurch.
Christchurch Airport's Chief Commercial Officer says it would be great for the city and tourists alike, not having to stop in Auckland. However, it comes down to what's commercially viable.
You're in a competition with other airports and other destinations in other countries for these flights, and so you're constantly trying to maintain what you've got, plus also look at where you can grow and what growth opportunities you've got.
And Watson says it could be a difficult task.
We believe that there's enough demand that exists between Christchurch to the South Island and also China to support a direct air service. However, it's got to be commercially viable. We've tested the market, we know there is the demand there. It's just now about convincing an airline that demand is sustainable.
If the idea can be proven as a success, there may be more flights heading here soon. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
He has given Christchurch residents a voice, particularly when it comes to earthquake issues. And today they gave back to broadcaster John Campbell with a clear message of support. Jared McCulloch was there.
They want their voice heard, not just now, but for years to come.
Save Campbell Live! Shame TV3! Save!
It's been a contentious issue when earlier this month Campbell Live's broadcaster MediaWorks put the current affairs program under review. When the public found out, they reacted, with over 76,000 people signing an online petition. And the show received on average 300,000 viewers this week, the highest number the program's seen since September 2013. Now a nationwide day of protests have taken place around the country.
I think that really reflects that Campbell Live is a lot more important and popular to New Zealanders than what TV3 is making out.
The protests began outside the netball centre at South Hagley Park, making their way to the channel's Christchurch headquarters in Addington, wanting the channel to reconsider axing the weeknight show.
We want Campbell.
Now they've ended up here outside MediaWorks' building here on Lincoln Road. Around 50 protesters in total have turned out, wanting to deliver one message: save Campbell Live. For many Cantabrians, the show has helped immensely with earthquake issues, and they don't want to see that help disappear. A city councillor was also part of the protest, wanting to show her support.
The value that Campbell Live gives us in telling the rest of the country Christchurch and Canterbury and South Island stories, I don't think you can put a dollar figure on.
And although the organisers were hoping for a bigger crowd, she believes more people want the program saved.
So every person you see here is representing a hell of a lot more people in Christchurch, basically.
And the presenter of the show, John Campbell, came out to greet those in Auckland who turned out today, saying he was overwhelmed by the support. But organisers now say they're not giving up, with more protests planned in the near future. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
Well, today veterans have been allowed on the Bridge of Remembrance for the first time in over 4 years, and it's been an emotional experience for many. Here's Marcus Gibbs.
Back on the Bridge of Remembrance for the first time in more than 4 years, Renadale veterans paying tribute to the fallen soldiers who went before them.
They were such brave men.
100 years ago, the Anzacs landed in Gallipoli. 2,721 New Zealanders were killed, brave soldiers fighting for their country. The Bridge of Remembrance was built in their memory, and today it partially reopened. It was an emotional time for the veterans.
Bit mixed up here, you know. I don't want to go again, though.
95-year-old Stan fought in World War II and marched across this famous bridge. The short walk today bringing back memories of when he went to war.
A bit scared. Didn't know what to look for.
Stan served as a batman in Egypt, Italy and Japan.
I never saw much fighting or anything like that.
Other veterans felt a connection to the fallen soldiers as they paid their respects this morning.
I think that this bridge is just so much a part of history.
They may not be old sailors, but they are old soldiers and they're still servicemen.
Downer has been restoring the earthquake-damaged bridge and promises to complete the work by Armistice Day this September.
The end is in sight. In September, October, we should be open.
They're doing the repairs, so it'll be here for another 100 years.
50 people have worked on the project so far. It hasn't been an easy task.
It's a technically challenging job. Credit to the team who've been working on it so far. The tolerances that we're working with are very, very tight. Had some very challenging ground conditions as well.
The bridge will be open to the public this weekend for reefs to be laid before being closed until it reopens this September. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
And staying with Anzac Day commemorations, it is a big weekend, and the Canterbury RSA president joins me next.
Is right here on CTV. Tune in every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. for an exciting range of fantastic kids programming. Join in with all the fun Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on CTV.
At Bowden Environmental, we specialise in all aspects of resource management, so you don't have to deal with the paperwork. With the skills and knowledge to organise any environmental work, we can guide you through the process from start to finish. From organising consents and farm environmental plans to pump and well testing, Bowden Environmental has it covered. Save time and remove the stress. See the specialist. Bowden Environmental. Computer not working? Replace or repair. DIY or get a technician. Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
Come on down to Ferrymead Golf. Care for a game of paintball? How about some swings on the old driving range? Or on our par 3 9-hole golf course? Test your skills on the mini golf course or have a go at the airgun shooting range. Then relax at the Wow Cafe with one of our super succulent Wow Burgers. Whether you want to perfect your swing or are looking for a fun family day out, Come down to Ferrymead Golf, 50 Ferrymead Park Drive, right next to the Ferrymead Heritage Park.
Arts 21 showcases the vast creative talent and minds that are making a name for themselves in Europe and beyond. Think outside the square with Arts 21.
Welcome back to CTV News. Well, tomorrow will be a big day, an important day really across the country as many people acknowledge the centenary of the 1915 Anzac landings in Gallipoli. With me now is the Canterbury RSA President, Pat Duggan. Pat, nice to see you and thank you for coming in.
You're welcome,
a big day tomorrow.
Huge, absolutely huge. And it's already started. I was down in Cranmer Square this afternoon and looking at the field of remembrance crosses that are there, and there was an amazing number of people just browsing through them, probably looking for a relative or something. It looks fantastic.
What I'm humbled about is previous years, and I believe this year too, we're expecting a lot of young people, a lot of children, which I think is in keeping with the Anzac spirit in a way, isn't it?
Most definitely. And I love seeing them there, wearing great granddad's medals on their right chest, and they're so proud. And I spoke to a preschool out in Oxford the other day, and I told them that when you go on to these Anzac Day service in the morning, walk up to a veteran and ask him about his medals. What are they for? And he'll so proudly tell you.
You're right about that, but on News Talks to Be today, a really interesting and powerful conversations of people who shared their experiences from what their great-grandfathers told them and their fathers. But sometimes it's hard to tell those stories, isn't it, even today?
Yes, it is. And you'll find that with a lot of servicemen, even those that are coming out of Afghanistan now, will have stories that probably won't ever get to air. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I've told my story by writing a book, and I'm sort of on a bit of a speaking circuit now, telling people about my war. And you're right, there's a sort of a mental block there with a lot of veterans that it's happened in the past, I want to keep it in the past, but they've got to share it. They've got to share it with the younger generation today. So that perhaps the younger generation won't make the same mistakes we did.
Well, I hope not. It's interesting you say that because a lot of older people like to share those stories eventually when they know their time is up.
Yes.
Same thing for my grandfather, same thing for many people I was speaking to today. There is a sense they want to tell their stories eventually though, don't you think?
Yes, they do. Yes, my late father was a classic in that respect. Dad talked me into joining the RSA in 1966, and I've been a proud member ever since. And he never spoke much about his war until about his last 5 years of life. And then sort of like a barrier came down. And I know it all now. I've got all his letters home and everything. I've got the whole package now, and I'm so chuffed that we established that part of our relationship. We were able to do that.
So tomorrow is not, well, of course it is about commemorating 100 years of 1915, but it's not just that, is it? It's also about recognising and respecting the men and women who serve today, and I think that's important to say that, don't you?
Chris, that is so important. And you know, I've been in the fortunate situation of being able to welcome back a lot of the peacekeepers from Afghanistan or wherever back into New Zealand again, and I've always extended to them an RSA welcome. And interestingly enough, part of my welcome back is that if you ever see me in an RSA around the countryside, tap me on the shoulder and I'll buy you a beer. The sad thing is, nobody's asked me yet. And I'd still like somebody out there to tap me on the shoulder and say, I'll buy you a beer.
I'll have to do that, and I'll have a Diet Coke on your behalf.
Good on you.
So we're expecting some decent turnouts at the various services around the country. Let's talk specifically about Canterbury. Of course, the main one happening in Cranmer Square tomorrow.
Yes. In fact, every war memorial in Canterbury will have a service at it tomorrow. And that in itself it's huge. Cranmer Square tomorrow, the City Council have very kindly put up 2 big screen televisions for us so that the people at the back can see. But I'm expecting the crowd to start developing there from about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be absolutely massive, and you know, even the numbers I'm hearing are turning up for the parade. The servicemen and women, they're going to be turning up in huge numbers.
Pat, how do we keep the spirit of Anzac alive?
I think it'll keep itself alive. I really do. The Anzac, well, Anzac it's not just an acronym now. It's a word. It's there, it's embedded in our psyche.
And it defines us as a country, doesn't it?
It does, most certainly. And of course it keeps that little bit of Australia too. We've got to keep that relationship going.
We'll allow that, just.
Yeah.
Pat, what is the main message you hope tomorrow will bring to a new generation of people who perhaps are unaware of what happened 100 years ago?
Listen, learn, take it on board and commemorate. Because that's all they can do, but they can learn a lot of lessons out of it. And hopefully the next generations won't make the same mistakes our generations have made.
Well, I hope so.
So do I.
Pat, thank you for your service and thanks for coming to CTV tonight.
My pleasure, Chris. Thank you
I
very
hope
much.
you have a good day tomorrow.
I certainly hope so.
It is the oldest school, or one of the oldest schools in Christchurch, with a direct link to Old England. Many Christ College old boys served in many of the world wars. So how deep is this history? Old boy Pete Smith explains.
When the first 4 ships left Portsmouth to come to Christchurch to establish the new province of Canterbury, they were to land at Port Lyttelton. On board, they actually had a charter, and that was 3 things that were prioritised for the new settlers. One was to build an Anglican cathedral, the next one was to build an Anglican hospital, and the third one was to found an Anglican boys' school. When they landed, they founded that in 1850 at Lyttelton, but the charter had been signed in 1849, so it's a very well established college. It's come here to the heart of the city, and as you can see, it says on there, founded 1850. What a story it's got to tell. 64 years on in Christ College's history, the call went out for the men from the colonies to take up arms and fight for king and country as war swept through Europe. What an opportunity it was seized upon, a chance to see the rest of the world being paid to go as soldiers. But what they didn't realise, of course, was they were told it'll be all over by Christmas. Well, in fact, it wasn't. 4 years of total carnage actually involved the pupils and staff from this college. They're remembered in the memorial book. The Great War of 1418 took a terrible toll on those that attended from Christ College. Old boys and staff members, 151 of them died as a result of having attended the Great War. It's remembered here on the quad with special crosses made here at the college and funded by the Old Boys Association to remember those 151 that didn't come back. Inside the college chapel there is the roll of honour of the old boys and masters of the college who fell or died as a result of having served in the Great War commencing 1914. On the roll of honour, of course, every name has a story. They have family, they have loved ones. In this particular chapel, Edward Wynne Chapman is remembered, and he died in action as early as November 1914 at the young age of 27. The boys of the school erected this stained glass window in memory of their chaplain who was here in 1913, Guy Spencer Bryan Brown. In 1917, he was killed in action in France. As Christ College were making plans for their centennial, which was upcoming in 1950, the call went out yet again, but this time it was different. Their fathers would have been in a lot of cases, and we knew probably what to expect. But once again, they answered the call in far greater numbers this time, the staff and ex-pupils of Christ College. Only one VC was awarded to a New Zealand soldier in the First World War. In the Second World War, probably Christ College's most famous soldier, and undoubtedly New Zealand's most famous soldier, picked up 2. Captain Sir Charles Upham, VC and Bar, a truly remarkable man because he was so humble about that. It was all about the men that he served with. They were the ones that did the hard yards, and he just picked up the glamour. A very, very famous old boy of Christ College, Captain Sir Charles Upham. One thing you can be assured of, when everybody gets together, the old boys of this college, on the morning of the 25th of April 2015, you can be assured they will remember them.
And we're getting reports in of a serious crash on Rickenham Ave just near the hospital there. A car has collided with a motorcyclist, blocking both lanes. So if you're watching this broadcast at 5 p.m, please do take care and avoid the area if at all possible. Well, still to come here on CTV News, your local sport preview and the region's weather. When you need to know what's happening in your region of Canterbury, join me, Chris Lynch, for CTV News First at 5, weeknights from 5, right here on your local channel, CTV.
Computer not working? Replace or repair? DIY or get a technician? Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
The preparation, the devotion, the fearlessness, the intensity. Runway model management. First impressions are everything.
Made to measure interiors, made with care, made for you.
Join Graham Sinclair and the team at Gone Fishing as they bring you great stories, fishing tips and beautiful scenery. Gone Fishing, Friday night at 8:30, right here on CTV.
Welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon with a weekend sports preview.
The Crusaders will look to get back into the win column tomorrow night when they take on the Blues at AMI Stadium. After 2 consecutive losses at home, the side find themselves in a must-win situation heading into the second half of the season. Todd Blackadder has made 4 changes to his side that went down to the Chiefs last weekend, with Cody Taylor and Owen Franks coming into the front row. Young Mitchell Drummond gets the nod ahead of Andy Ellis at halfback, while Ryan Crotty returns from injury to start in the 13 jumper. Tomorrow's match will include Anzac Day commemorations, which begin at 7 p.m. with kick-off at 7:35. Well, it's a busy Anzac weekend for the Canterbury Rams, who, after starting their season with 3 wins and a loss, face a tough road trip starting tonight in Nelson. The Rams will look to hand the Nelson Giants their first loss of the season before taking on the Manawatu Jets for the 3rd time this year in Palmerston North. The Rams' long weekend then concludes on Monday when they take on the Southland Sharks in Invercargill. The winless Mainland Tactics head across the Tasman, taking on the Vixens in Melbourne on Sunday. The Tactics continue their hunt for that elusive first win, but face a tough task against the defending champs. The side will look to build on the periods of quality play they've showed over the last 2 weeks against strong Australian sides. That match gets underway at 4:15 New Zealand time. Hayden Paddon continues his campaign in the World Rally Championship this weekend with the Rally of Argentina. The event got underway this morning with a 2.5 kilometre special stage. Paddon is on the pace, just 2.8 seconds behind the early rally leader Sebastian Ogier. And finally tonight, the UC Championship Secondary School Rugby competition has its first round of competition tomorrow. Tomorrow's feature game sees Christ College at home to St Thomas's with kick-off at 1 o'clock. The game will also feature right here on CTV with match coverage at 12:30 on Sunday with a replay at 5:30. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Findlater for CTV Sport.
And now time for the Anzac forecast.
Good evening, Canterbury. Let's take a look at your high temperatures today. Timaru, you're on 18 today. Temuka and Geraldine, slightly warmer, 19 degrees. Ashburton, 18 for you. Methven, slightly cooler, 17. Brickaya, 18 for you. As for Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, you're all on 17 today. Lincoln and Christchurch, 17 degrees. Over in Akaroa today, it was a mild day out there on 17. Further north, Kaiapoi, Rangiora and Amberley, you hit a high of 17 today.
She thinks I know something, maybe she thinks it's fine.
Golden, Hamner Springs and Cheviot, one of the warmest places to be today in the region, 19. Kaikoura, slightly cooler, 16. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather now. Timaru will be a fine day for you with some high cloud increasing and just some mild northerly winds. Tonight's low is 8, tomorrow's high 21 degrees.
So don't tell me, you might just let it go.
A fine Saturday ahead for Ashburton with just some high cloud increasing later on in the day and northerly winds. Your overnight low is 8, tomorrow's high 21. Taking a look at Christchurch now, there'll be some mild northerly winds and some high cloud, but it should be a great Saturday ahead for you. Tonight's low is 8, tomorrow's high 21.
No longer sees it with her sleeping eyes, and I know that when she said she's gonna try, well, it might not.
It'll be fine and sunny for Kaikoura tomorrow with some high cloud increasing and mild northerly winds. Tonight's low is 8, tomorrow's high 22.
I wouldn't want to break on, I wouldn't want to break on. Maybe she'll help me to
Let's take a look at the other areas around the region for your Anzac Day. Temuka and Geraldine, there'll be some cloud for you, 20. Methven and Rakaia, cloud also, 20 degrees.
maybe.
Darfield, you'll be on 20 tomorrow. Leeston and Rolleston expect 21 degrees with some cloudy skies.
You might just let it.
Over in Akaroa, some cloud for you tomorrow, 22. Further north to Kaiapoi, Rangiora and Amberley, tomorrow you'll have some cloudy patches throughout the day and 22 degrees. As for Golden, Hamner Springs and Cheviot, expect some cloud, 20 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury now, there'll be some thick high cloud on Sunday with just outbreaks of rain here and there in the western ranges and some mild northerly winds. As for Monday, expect a period of rain here and there in the morning with some fresh northerlies, but it will become fine at times with just some light winds. Expect some stronger winds later on in the evening. Looking ahead to Tuesday now, that rain will ease to showers and there'll be some cold southwesterly winds as well. Expect some snow lowered to 600 metres. Wednesday, mostly cloudy and cold with some moderate southwesterly winds. And Thursday, mostly fine and sunny with some light southwesterly winds. And that is your weather for Friday.
And that's CTV News for this week. You have a great long weekend.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.